Hello, Bondex. Welcome to another session of Bondex Talks. And we have a very special guest today, something I'm really pumped about. We have James Zhang from Jambo Phone. Welcome, James. Say hello to the community. How you doing?
Good, brother. How you doing? And thanks for taking the time. What's up, community? Excited to chat right now. Thanks for listening and tuning in. Let's try to share some alpha and keep it interesting for everyone.
We're definitely going to be sharing some special alpha here with Jambo. And, I actually met James playing some basketball in Singapore. I also got to meet Sam, another key part of the member. We hit it off and we realized there was a lot of magic between our companies. But to give you guys a little intro, welcome to today's episode. James Chang, you're a visionary in blockchain and fintech. You're reshaping the digital landscape, starting with Africa, but the rest of emerging markets as well. You're the co-founder and CEO of Jambo. I would say, started as a super app, but now you're going with deepen and physical structure with a $99 phone, specially catered to Web3. So, you have experience leading Black Panthers Capital Blockchain Fund. You've played a lot of roles. We'll get into your background fully, but ultimately, you're now leading Jambo, which is, I think, one of the most exciting projects in the Web3 space. And to give you guys just an idea of the Jambo technology, it's transforming mobile access to Web3 with a powerful $99 smartphone. It's the best quality smartphone in that price range. Supported by Paradigm, a massive VC in the space, and Jambo aims to bridge the gap for millions of people entering the decentralized economy. And I love your slogan, if you got a Jambo phone, you have a job. James, welcome. Please tell us more about Jambo. Tell us more about yourself.
Amazing. Why don't I start off with a quick intro about myself because that leads directly into why I started Jambo and what we're doing today. Hello everyone. Co-founder of Jambo, James here. I'm ethnically Chinese, but I actually grew up in Central Africa my entire life. My family's third generation from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Growing up there, finishing the background. After Congo, studied computer science in college in New York. Ended up running a fund for 4 years. It's called Black Panther Capital. We invested in other crypto funds, early stage crypto projects, later stage. But essentially, come 2021, I was 26 and realized I want to start building in the space myself because I couldn't find in the entrepreneur that was building what I had in mind. And what I say is, when you grow up in a country like Congo and Central Africa, you run into problems like cross-border payments, remittances, banking the unbanked. Honestly, this is true throughout emerging markets, whether you're in Brazil, Congo, Nigeria, Southeast Asia. And all of these issues begin and end in mobile. So we realized that we have to own the entire infrastructure stack, and that starts with mobile and ends with mobile. So being ethnically Chinese, supply chain in China, for the first year of Jambo, we fundraised where Paradigm led our round. We did about $40 million in fundraise with Paradigm as a lead investor, and then team building, brand building, and most importantly, supply chain and our factories building to make sure that we have a consistent stream of supply. Now, as of today, starting in 2024, we've shipped for about 11 months. So far, we've done a bit over 600,000 phones to 128 countries and created over 3 million wallets. Now, what that means is with a Jambo phone, you have a job. You can convert your time into money. When you come into the Jambo phone, there's 20 applications, Web3, our partners that are pre-installed, where now you can come in, spend time in those applications, and earn their tokens. Now, the Jambo app is only one of the 20 applications. It's your multi-chain wallet and your questing platform. It tells you what to do in the other apps and accrue tokens to your wallet. For example, you can go into our partner Matrix Fire, an FPS CSGO game, where now you get to level 5, level 20, you earn X amount of fire tokens, which is fully liquid, listed on Bybit, listed on OKX, and it accrues to your Jambo multi-chain wallet. But you might say, hey, I'm a 19-year-old from Sao Paulo, from Brazil, our largest market. I don't care if it's fire tokens, Bitcoin, or Solana, or whatever. It has no use to my daily life because I'm a new crypto user and I don't care for it right now. Well, that is the point of what we provide to you, fiat to crypto, on rail and off rails in over 100 countries right now with third-party providers. So think of it, if I didn't say Jambo is a $99 smartphone, think of it as an infrastructure where from beginning to end, you come into this device, you spend your time, and at 10 a.m., if you buy it, by 10 p.m., you could already recover your phone cost. So I'll stop right there first.
I love it. It's completely true. Emerging markets have leapfrogged in terms of technology because of mobile has made that possible. And it goes to the real ethos of why Web3 started, which is really a bank in the unbanked, creating a you know parallel financial system that was fairer, more transparent, but also included a lot of people that are in areas where they won't give them a credit, they won't let them open a bank account, right? And secondly, is we're spending all this time on the internet in Web2 in platforms that make us believe that we're getting free products, right? And we get value out of them, but really we're the product. They're exploiting our data. Why wouldn't we be monetizing our time, contributing to earn, right? All the traffic flow, all the eyeballs, your data is extremely valuable. Data is more valuable than oil today. So I love this democratization that Jambo empowers across emerging markets in the people that need it the most. They need that financial inclusion the most. And I love that. So it's not just a phone. The phone is a vessel. It's really the infrastructure to provide people a living, a means of living, and to monetize their time. And it's also in mobile, so it doesn't impede them from doing their 9 to 5 job, whatever it is they're doing. They can just monetize their spare time as well, right? The future of work is fractional. So I love to know, like, what inspired you exactly. I mean, you've mentioned it a little bit, but how do you come to the conclusion that this Web3 formula was the way to empower, and why did you not find anyone else that could do it? Like, what was it that that inspiration? Why did you see people in need? Was it Web3 really democratized that? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
A great question. I mean, it's like you said at the beginning of this entire AMA, it was Jambo started as a super app, right? Like, even though growing up in Africa my entire life, I'm still ethnically Chinese, and I see the world of super apps and how important data is, from Tencent, WeChat to Alibaba ecosystem. Asia actually leapfrogged the US. There actually isn't that many super apps in the US in the traditional sense, but in Asia there is, where they have all of your data, your social data and everything. And it's important. There's a pros and cons, obviously. We'll talk about the pros. It's important because it can then bridge you into the global financial infrastructure. What I mean is, imagine if today we just airdropped a non-custodial digital wallet to everyone in Africa, to 1.5 billion people. Congrats, you just banked the entire continent, right? It's 50% unbanked at the moment. One of the youngest continents in the world. The issue is, even if they have that non-custodial digital wallet, they still don't have access to the global financial infrastructure because they don't have a credit system. So there is no way for you to be able to take loans, do the very basic things that you might need in a bank, because they have your credit and they can provide that for you. So when Jambo started, I naively thought that with a software piece, it would solve everything, where we can give everyone a credit score based on certain data metrics that you have. For example, in Africa, where I grew up, your phone number is essentially your ENS domain, right? Your phone number is essentially who you are. There is no passport. There is no other data linked to it. There is no, did you pay back your loans or not, anything like that, because you are already unbanked. So now I couldn't find another entrepreneur that was building the top funnel of distribution. Right, the Jambo team and myself, we go to sleep and we wake up every day with just one word in our minds, and that's distribution. The reason why we sell to 128 countries, that's not an easy task, to open up sales channels to 128 countries with distributors, over 600,000 pieces manufactured in anything. You cannot have breaks in supply chain. So taking in that volume and shipping to that many countries, the whole point is so we can get greater distribution to distribute our app that will give and bank and provide credit system and help people do remittances, cross-border payments, etc.
Man, I love it. I'm just very aligned with your mission. Obviously, at Bondex, we're all about jobs as well and democratizing access. We're doing it through reputation and trust. You're doing it through infrastructure. Obviously, there's a connection here. So, like, just going over the main features again to explain it, right? Like, so you get affordable access because the 99 smartphone that actually pays for itself. It's a phone that pays, right? Is designed with a simple kind of user interface to allow you to monetize your time, right? And then it's also very community growth. Like, or if your own words, what would you say are the 3 main highlights of the phone to really simplify it?
Right. I mean, even before I just give 3 main words, I've realized I never even explained some of the specs of the phone. So it's a $99 phone. Now, once you hear $99, you're like, damn, that's probably cheaper than the shirt that Ignacio is wearing on this AMA right now. How can that possibly be the phone that I'm using every day? Well, it's Android 14 OS system, the most up-to-date, 12 gigabytes of RAM, same as an iPhone, 128 gigabytes of storage, and octa-core CPU. So essentially, FPS games, etc., there is no lag. And this is actually the Jambo V2. So in the Jambo V1, that's what we started shipping in January 2024. We've done a bit over 500,000 pieces of that. And then the V2 is like triple the specs, but the same price. Now you might say, James, why are you keeping it $99? Why can't it be $150, $200? Because if you grow up in these emerging markets, you know that the cell phone industry, it's not a Web3 industry, it's like Web0, right? It doesn't care about like what you want inside. It doesn't care if you want to decentralize the app store, take away, from Google, Apple, and democratize that for app developers. It cares the pricing, because every $15, $20, there's a competitor and a huge Web2 giant that's publicly listed. So at like $120, that's, I'd say, the average lowest cost of smartphones in these markets, like Oppo, Vivo. You go up $20, Huawei, another $20, Samsung. So I had to make sure that our phones was cheaper than other phones and has the Web3 access, so that users, the new users that we talk about in crypto, the next billion that we're onboarding, would actually give it a chance. Otherwise, they'll be like, wow, this is a $220 phone. I can't afford that. My phone's $120. Like, no harm, no foul. That's fair. So that's why Jambo breaks even on the phone, right? Out the factory to distribution costs, sales costs, and for the cost of our distributors selling it, that's all in that is $99, so that users will actually go buy the phone. Now, if I was to sum up the main three-word benefits of the phone, would be easy to use, Android system, where everyone grew up with. Second, any functionality, you don't have to use it as a Web3 phone. You can use it however you want. You can download Instagram, you can download WhatsApp, text your friends, do what you want. You can delete all the pre-installed applications if you want to. In fact, if you're like, man, I hate Jambo, I'm going to delete all the apps. Feel free and go ahead. So you can use it as a very normal phone, except the way we designed it is so that it's an all-in-one infrastructure. When you come in, you don't even need to think. You can be, I want to play games. I'm going to go here, play this game. I'm going to be rewarded for my time. I want to come into this wallet. I heard Aptos is an interesting partner. Let me go try out their Petro wallet. Let me earn an APT. It's about $10 today per APT. So we don't want to play God and tell users what consumer applications to use. We just want to be that portal and set up the back-end entire infrastructure.
I am blown away by the fact that you're able to undercut other players while maintaining such a high level of quality, because that will get you market penetration. And something that you touched on, I completely agree with, is people want the magic technology can provide. They don't care about what it is. In Web3, we made this mistake of trying to explain everyone the technology. People take a plane to get from point A to point B. People get a phone to really make calls and communicate, right? But then the Web3 should just be the added benefits of you monetizing your time in an easy way, abstracting the complexities of blockchain. So I love what you say. That's the way to do it. That's how we get that next billion users. And the fact that you're able to maintain that level of quality, and I know you're going to keep upgrading that quality, right? Over time, next generation versions, you're going to be on Apple's hit list very soon, I'm sure, of people to take out. But talking about the Web3 landscape now itself, I'd also love to kind of, get your insights into that Web3 adoption, right? That needs accessible, for example, mobile first tools. How do we get that? How does Jambo approach that?
For sure. I mean, I think it's very simple. If you look at Argentina, Brazil, Nigeria, Kenya, all of these places have skipped PC. They went directly to mobile. So already we have an advantage where users in these regions are used to mobile apps and using their phone. Now, the issue is many Web3 applications is not actually on the Android Play Store. It is not on the iOS store. There's still progressive web apps, or PWAs, like just direct web apps, where you open a website on your Safari or on your Google Chrome, and then you click save to desktop, and then it opens up a desktop link every time you click onto it, even though it's an app icon. So I think a lot of these interesting designs that you can play around it, for example, for us is there's 20 apps that are pre-installed on the Jambo phone that are all Android APK on Android's Play Store, but we also have a dApp store. The dApp store is of a lot of our partners that don't have Android store app yet, but you can still access it directly through. For example, even Telegram, right? Ton is a very important ecosystem in Web3, whether you see it for its users or you see it for token listings. I see a lot of people writing listings in the comments. Well, Binance listed 5 Ton ecosystem projects in a row, from Catizen, Ton, Notcoin, etc., because it brings a lot of users. Now, directly from Jambo, you can access these dApps and do their quests because we have Telegram pre-installed. We have those dApps in our dApp store, and they all accumulate tokens for you from them. So it's sort of like a double where you not only get to access the apps, but you're rewarded for your time for doing so. Yeah.
That's super interesting. It is a trend that you definitely picked up. It pays to be first and novel in Web3, right? The tap games really hit it off. I think it mixed the gaming with the Telegram messaging app, massive ecosystem and user base mixed with the meme hype and the meme cycle we're living through. And that's what attracted to, it's hard to onboard new users to Web3, and the Ton ecosystem mixed with Telegram gave access to that. Obviously, the biggest player, Binance, saw into that. But I do think that cycle is slowing down a little bit. And it's all about building more sustainable engagement and features that keep people coming back. And that's why I find what you've done with Jambo something a lot more sustainable in terms of a product market fit, engaging, and ultimately solving real world problems. Not only are you providing a communication tool, you're also providing a way to monetize your time. And banking, banking and financial inclusion in emerging markets, it's just triple threat all around. And, I'd love to now go into some of the questions we've actually selected from the community, some of the questions that we've gathered before the call. So, one of them is, how does Jambo's $99 smartphone make Web3 more accessible to users who may not have been able to access it before?
Yeah. That's the easy way to look at it is you might not even know or never will know the apps that are pre-installed inside of the Jambo phone if you didn't buy the phone. So our wallet, our app, the Jambo app on Android, has over 1 million downloads, right? We've created 3 million new wallets. So that's not just from the phone sales. It's directly, you can download our wallet and our Jambo app even without the phone. The second part is the phone. So now users can now buy the phone, see those apps that are inside of our phone. So if they didn't buy the phone, it's hard to highlight a lot of these apps. So that's where infrastructure comes in. But also, I would love to highlight the importance of partners, because we didn't build all these technologies, right? It's like gaming. You cannot be the IP, the publisher, and the marketing and everything in one. It's very rare, once in a blue moon, for that to happen, right? I didn't build the software and everything that inside. What I mean by that is, even when we pay out our users, it's an SPL, right? In Solana technology, because it's very fast, it's very low cost, almost seamless gas fees. Otherwise, it wouldn't be possible to deal with so many small unit economics, right? Stable coins. We use USDT and partner with Tether. It's not like Jambo just created its own Jambo USDT or Jambo USD right now. No one will know what it is. There wouldn't be enough liquidity issues around in various countries. So we're actually standing on the shoulders of giants to be able to provide this technology as a platform to our users.
That makes a lot of sense. I love you giving credit to them. And I want to give you some credit, because I was a breakpoint at the Solana conference. The most hyped up booth with the best marketing and the most attention was the Jambo booth. I was just in Dubai at the Binance Blockchain Week. Also the most hype. You guys are really talented. Also Sam is not here with us today. What a hype man. What an incredible guy. You guys really are able to canalize excitement to a new level, and people should be excited. And I love that your mission is keeping things as slow as possible and as efficient as possible and as uncomplicated as possible. That's how we get that next billion users. You're hitting all the spots. To go into the next one, in your view, what are the main barriers to Web3 adoption in emerging markets? What are some of those challenges you're addressing?
Great question. I'll start off. I think the biggest one is honestly the geography, the geography and the language. Physically, if you're not there, and if you haven't been there, it's hard to understand the culture. I'm not saying I've been to 128 countries, right? That'd be crazy. I've probably been to maybe half of it. But still, for example, I grew up, I'm Chinese, right? So at home, ethnically, I've spoken Mandarin. So I can do AMAs and I can speak with the Chinese community, even though it's not perfect Chinese, we can communicate. Growing up in Congo, was colonized by the Belgians. So I grew up speaking French. So I can communicate with West African countries like Ghana, Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, etc. if you go down. But now our largest market here is Brazil. That's Portuguese, oi, tudo bem. I don't speak that much Portuguese, right? So I can't do an AMA in Brazilian, and very hard for me to communicate and write things like that and get the excitement in the community in the way that we're doing right now. And then like Spanish, obviously one of the biggest languages. So I think one of the biggest challenges for honestly penetrating emerging markets for any company in Web3 beyond just the technology is you have to be able to tell them what the technology is, and that's distribution. Without distribution, you don't really have the product because the user will never find out about it. And like another thing is when we started, people are like, oh, you look Asian and you're doing a super app and super app type play. Is it like a WeChat, right? WeChat is messaging, including everything else. I'm like, if we're like, but messaging is already won by WhatsApp, right? In all of most emerging markets. And there's entire micro economies on WhatsApp that hasn't even been shown yet in first world countries. So I think you really have to understand locally how users are getting information, how to form communities, and forming communities, you have to localize. So I say that's one of the biggest challenges going into local markets.
Okay, localization, language, geography. I will have to ask you about those mini economies on WhatsApp, because I think due to their closed API, I always found it to be a more closed ecosystem than a Telegram, for example, that has an open API. And I think WeChat's a little bit close as well. But as you mentioned, super apps have not taken off in the West the way that they've taken off in Asia. But I'll have to ask you more about the WhatsApp microeconomies. I'd love to understand that, because we're building some cool stuff on top of that. Okay, last question from the community. Then I'm going to ask one for myself, and then we'll go into a little bit of alpha. So how does decentralization play a role in Jambo's vision, roadmap? Why do you think it's important? Why do you believe it's important that the future of mobile technology is in Web3?
I'll start by saying this, right? Like, I think most people right now, they're watching the stream. Just look at your phone. It's most likely either an iPhone or a Samsung, right? Android or iOS. And it doesn't really affect your day-to-day that it's not decentralized, right? And the reason for that is because most of the apps that we use is available on the Google Play Store or on App Store. But there's actually an entire like iceberg of apps that are not listed, and it's getting harder and harder and more censored every day for people and apps.
Monopoly.
Yes, sir. Exactly. It doesn't look like a monopoly to us as a consumer in a first world country, but it really is, as an app developer and stuff, to try to push your product out is crazy. It's like, I think in the most recent Elon Musk, Joe Rogan podcast episode, Joe Rogan asked Elon Musk, like, is Tesla going to build a phone, right? He's like, it's not on the roadmap, but if it gets too monopolized and they start censoring too many apps, then they're probably the best tech company positioned to do so. And I agree, because you really shouldn't play gatekeeper for a lot of these apps and things like that. And one of the biggest things I'm leading to, you can see, is crypto, right? There's definitely going to be huge gatekeeping to crypto apps coming onto and using crypto payments, crypto services, and honestly, things that make it easier to use the app. But because it's crypto and there's gatekeepers and it takes away from their pie, then it's hard to do so. So I say that's one of the biggest parts of why I think decentralization is important for the App Store and for having a phone and owning the entire infrastructure.
Bondex is an app. We've gone through this process. We did a design. There was a big crackdown on change in terms and conditions of both Google Play and Apple of having a tokenized app. And essentially, unless you're a wallet or an exchange, it was very hard to get approved. It's actually a big moat if you're able to get through those hoops, and the process can be tedious. In a way, it's a silver lining because it becomes a moat that you're able to pass through those terms and conditions. But it highlights the gatekeeping that they do. And the pie that you refer to is the 30% commission. Why did they crack down on digital assets and NFTs and things like that? Because they were not getting paid their 30% for transactions, which is what they're looking after. If you're able to design a tokenomic or a point system that then somehow they're able to get their piece of the pie, then they pass it through. It's definitely monopolistic behavior. However, I don't want to take away credit from the big providers of the infrastructure we use every day. I love iPhone, I love Apple. But I do like the efforts, from example, from the European Union, thinking that there may be a third-party app store for things that should not be gatekept by these certain companies. Not that I agree with everything that's going on with antitrust in the US with Google, for example, or anything like that, but something I felt before, decentralization is obviously a way to prevent gatekeepers and disintermediate some of the unfair monopolies that have been created. So completely agree with you there. Absolutely. Now for some alpha, this is a question for myself. Little Birds told me there might be a physical Jambo store. Is that true?
Yes, sir. Let me drop it to y'all listeners. If you've still been listening to me talk for 30 minutes, I'm going to give you some alpha. I'm sure you're bored. Our first physical store opened in Sao Paulo, Brazil, the largest market, in a few weeks, very short few weeks. They operate at Web 0 speeds, the malls. So we've been really gunning for it. It has about 2 million monthly foot traffic, right? Third largest mall. Things like this, where real world comes in and people can actually see what you're doing. Imagine a Jambo store in the middle smack dab of the mall with employees that can walk you through, come into the phone, do these things, turn your time into money, and it's cheaper than your phone. It's just so much easier to explain than online. Like, I don't know if people here have seen Shark Tank, right? But sharks generally at the end of a pitch, entrepreneur, say there's a few sharks that all say, hey, I would love to invest. Then the person that chooses Lori of QVC is because she has a big distribution channel. She has a channel that gets aired called QVC with millions of viewers. Then users can see and put their physical thing inside of their store and then play with it and have store clerks display what it is. So I think that's what Jambo phone is as well. If I just give someone a phone and say, here, they might not even intuitively know, hey, let me go to the Jambo app, see what quests I can do to then earn money, then fiat to crypto, Unreal, offer all these things. But if you just had someone like 30 seconds explained, that's just so much easier. Just like in 2021 cycle, why Axie Infinity took off, a big part of it in Philippines is because of YGG and the way that Filipinos are structured, very community focused. So it's always a friend of a friend that tells someone, hey, you play this for a bit and you earn X amount of tokens and money. So I think that aspect is super important. So just a little bit of alpha on the storefront.
In real life stuff, as much as we love the digital world and we're obviously going more towards the digital life, like there's just nothing that replaces human connection in real life. And so having a physical store is fantastic. I'm going to be visiting in January. I know that much because, my fiance is from Colombia. I'll be spending Christmas there. And so then it's not actually that close at all, but, it's closer than where I am right now in London. So I'll be coming by. And some alpha for the listeners who have been here with us today. It's not going to be announced officially until tomorrow, but obviously Bondex and Jambo share a mission of enabling Web3 global access to everyone and directly impacting decentralized careers. Their motto is you have at Jambo, you have a phone. Our motto is, the talent revolution. Obviously, there's a lot of synergies here, and happy to announce some alpha here. We're entering into a fantastic partnership. We're going to be one of those preloaded apps on the Jambo phone. We're going to be enabling jobs, and we're just starting with permanent jobs, but we're going to be providing fractionalized opportunities for people around the world and providing an on-chain reputation that is going to enable them to get really good job opportunities in the West that are high paying to these people in emerging markets, these users, these talented individuals that don't get the chance and access these high paying jobs and opportunities in the West. And that's how we are going to mix and match our mission and vision and Super Lab, Bondex, and Job Marketplace with the Jambo infrastructure. So guys, you've heard it here first. James, thank you for coming. Super excited to kick off this partnership. We're going to kick some ass together.
Brother, it is. I'm honestly more excited than you. Like, how can you not be excited to monetize your professional network? When you can have your professional network with a decentralized talent marketplace, I think that's just like the key to solving a lot of issues right now, honestly, for users. So super excited for Bondex and Jambo partnership.
Absolutely. Let's kick some ass, James. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for your time. And more announcements coming soon on the Jambo Bondex matchup. Thank you very much, everyone.